Let's talk about family entertainment. You're about to hear the latest trends, expert insights, and behind-the-scenes stories of family fun centers. We'll be talking with arcade vendors, food vendors, attraction vendors, plus sharing life stories of owner-operators and much more. Stay tuned for engaging and informative content that will keep you coming back for more. And now, here's your host, Jeff Pierce of Atomic City Family Fun Center with the FEC World Podcast.
Hello, everybody. We appreciate you joining us once again for the FEC World Podcast. I am Jeff Pierce, and we are here to help you with all things family entertainment. Whether you're just getting ready to get into the industry, thinking about it, just started, or if you've been in it for a while, we're here to help you with that. And we get to talk to several people that can help you with that. And today we got a very special person on here, and a very good friend of mine, Kimberly Schilling with Creative Works. How you doing, Kimberly?
Hey, I'm doing really well, Jeff. It's nice to see you on this platform and get to hang out with you just a little bit.
Yeah, and definitely, I definitely couldn't do this without you. Definitely have to have you on this podcast for sure. You're got a great personality. You've got a great concept with your business, and we appreciate you very much from Atomic City for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
So can you tell me a little bit about your role at Creative Works?
Sure. So Creative Works, if you are unfamiliar with our company, we are a designer and builder of attractions. We started out in the laser tag industry and made just laser tag arenas. And that was started by my late husband, Jeff Schilling, and he started Creative Works in 1997. So we're about ready to celebrate our 27th year anniversary of being a company, which is pretty exciting, and have definitely seen the ups and downs, but we've since added a lot of other attractions, miniature golf. We helped create a laser maze. It's no longer really an attraction as much anymore. It's popular. And then we've worked with other distributors for virtual reality games, and then we kind of came up with our own concept for a tech high-end escape room too. So we've kind of tried to diversify as best we can, because we believe that, family entertainment centers are always evolving, growing, changing. You can't just be a one-trick pony anymore like back in, when things first started. So I feel like that's been the success, and my role has been varied throughout the years. Obviously, I met Jeff, and then we were married for about a year before we decided to work full time together. And so I've worn a lot of hats with being secretarial, project management, marketing. I've even put my toe into the sales role, and now I'm more in the HR and people management of our own company.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate that. Appreciate everything that you do and what you have done to make this business a success. And it's available to everyone in this industry, and it's very important. And something else that Creative Works does is they put on an event called Amusement 360. And I'm here to tell you, folks, I could vouch for that event. It will definitely help you. And that's what we're here for on this podcast, is to help you learn more about the family entertainment business. And I'm going to ask Kimberly. Kimberly, can you tell us what Amusement 360 is, please?
Sure. Yeah. So Amusement 360 is, we look at it as a company as a value add for our new customers, or hopefully will be a new customer to our existing customers. So we initially had started Amusement 360, and it was called Laser Tag 360. We did the first one in August 2011, and now here we are in 2024. So we've been around a while. We've evolved that event quite a bit. And then we have, over time, decided, it's not just about laser tag anymore. It's about all things amusement. So then we broadened our horizon to Amusement 360. And we really look at it, like I said earlier, as a value add. We want to add education, information, and networking for people who are either considering going into the industry or are currently in the industry and, like you said, want to make a change or even just want to improve and grow. So we have a couple of those events a year that last about 2.5 days, and we bring in a lot of great speakers and content for people to kind of take in and be part of that community.
Yeah, and you've got speakers from all areas of the industry too, whether it be from marketing,
Yes,
food and beverage,
absolutely.
whatever the case may be. So those attendants will have several takeaways from that, and they may grab one little nugget from something, or they may grab 20. Who knows? And that's what makes it so good. I was speaking with Danny Gruning, and I was letting him know too that since I've been there about 5 different times, and I've heard a lot of the same speakers. What I've heard about maybe 2 or 3 different times, as I grow in the industry, I understand what they're talking about. So I'm learning something new every time I go. We've been in business 4 years, and we just keep learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, sometimes it's similar to like a book. You can read it once, and because of what you're going through at that time in your life, you'll get one piece out of that. And then you'll read that book in a year later, and you're in a different spot in your life, even in small little ways. And so our event is definitely, we're kind of pointing towards that, where it's like, hey, there's always ways that you can improve and grow. I think I call it constant and never ending improvement. You're always trying to do that. You never really graduate from working things out in your business. So why not learn from experts and let them show you, hey, this is how I did it. So you may not have to make as many mistakes on the way and can be more successful faster.
Right. And when you learn all this, people may think, well, you're sitting in a classroom. No, you're not. This is an experience in itself. I mean, we hop up and dance, get motivated. We get to listen to speakers and panel discussions, and then you allow network timing where, I mean, it could be a 45-minute session, hour session of networking, which is very important to your business, meeting other people in the industry. You wouldn't believe how valuable that's been to us. And not only that, you had just bonding time. We may show up at a FEC or at the back nine golf, whatever the case may be. It's a lot of fun, folks. It's not just classroom material, which is very, very valuable.
Yes, absolutely. We are in the fun industry. We need to have fun together, right? And
Absolutely.
Sometimes the best conversations happen when you're breaking bread with someone, or you're having a drink, or you're playing a game with them. So providing various environments for you to network and grow. And we have been very purposeful in our event, because when we first started, we were very content driven and not as much networking. And we've over time learned it's important for us to let's add a lot more networking time in, because our attendees really value that and really need that, just because you do kind of feel like when you're first starting out, you're drinking from a fire hose,
Yeah.
And so you need that time to process that information, as well as talk to other people and get their ideas. I think the operator interviews are one of my favorite parts. And I know we've had you and Charlotte on as an operator to ask you best practices of, hey, how did you do this? And how did you start your business? And what are the best ideas? And I think we learn best when we can collaborate and learn with others.
Yeah. Well, speaking of learning, Charlotte and John and I, we didn't know about any events like this or any trade shows. We just started looking on Google about attractions and making phone calls. And just to be honest, that's how we come about everything. And that's the reason and the purpose for this podcast is we want to give back to those that have helped us. I mean, from those that have helped us, we want to be able to give the opportunity and help promote that there are events like this out there that can help you. If you just got it in your mind about a family entertainment center, or you're just getting ready to open the doors, so much valuable content here and at all these events and at the trade shows. I mean, you see several attractions like IAPA. Yeah, it's amazing. I can't even begin to explain how much is in IAPA. However, several networking possibilities there too. And Amusement 360 has has changed our lives at Atomic City and the way we do things. And my goodness, you run out of there so motivated. You can't wait to get back to Kentucky to just start it that day. I mean, I am serious.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You
That's
just
awesome.
run around
I'm
there.
glad to hear that.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on here with you, Kimberly. I mean it. And whenever it's coming around and we know we're going to be at the event, we are super excited and pumped. Can't wait to get there because it keeps that spark alive. It really does. And I highly, highly recommend to you viewers to check that out. Kimberly, can you tell them how to check out Amusement 360, what goes on there, how to get registered, and all of that as well?
Yeah. Well, we have, like I think I mentioned earlier, we have this event 2 times a year. Sometimes the dates vary slightly. I know that in 2025, we're going to be having our event in May of 2025, and then the second one will be in September of 2025. But if you go to amusement360.com, you can learn more about the program. It will list kind of previous maybe schedules and the things that happen at the events. You can kind of see a sample of the different people that are speaking and what topics are going to be discussed. We do change that up every single time, but some of the topics stay consistent each time just because they're kind of more of those foundational things that you need to know, either as someone starting out in the industry, and 2, those that are in the industry like yourself and just want to maybe make a change, add an attraction, best new practices. Or another thing that we're starting to see more and more is people like yourself are bringing managers in, general managers or assistants, to kind of get inundated a little bit in the industry, but not in a huge like trade show environment like an IAPA that's in Orlando. That one's a much bigger expense and just it can be a little overwhelming. This is a much smaller, intimate group of people, and there's a lot more, like you said, there's networking and education that go on hand in hand. So all of those groups of people, from the beginning to existing and adding staff to come in and listen to, that's super helpful. So if you go to amusement360.com, that is where you can register. That's where you can find out more about the event, who the speakers will be. And I know one thing I did also want to mention is we started probably about 4 or 5 years ago adding more of a personal development aspect to the show. So we'll bring in different keynote speakers who don't necessarily talk about the family entertainment industry, but they're talking about you as a business owner and you as a person, and kind of stretch and grow you in different ideas. I know we've all found that, at least on our core leadership team, we've all attended Tony Robbins events and other, growth mindset events that kind of have helped us propel as people and as well as leaders in our company. And we want to do the same for others. So even you mentioned my colleague, Danny Gruning, who's our Vice President of Business Development. He's a huge proponent of that, and is actually, he does his own work in that on the side with putting together mastermind groups and let people kind of collaborate and connect and share ideas and kind of grow together as people too. So I do think that that's an element that we have that most in our industry don't, is that personal development, because we care about you as a whole person, not just the business part of you.
I've seen and experienced that. And I'm Danny's masterminds too. And I've been on that for about 2 months now. And I tell you what, it's really changed outlook on things, the way I look at things, the way I maybe deliver and talk to different people. Then getting to meet other owner operators or managers, whatever the case may be. Those masterminds are very, very powerful, very powerful. Definitely worth your time to look into that if the time comes for you on being in a mastermind. Also, you mentioned too about bringing managers and staff to Amusement 360, which we have done, like you mentioned, but I think I told you at the last one. I said, "Yeah, I brought my assistant manager here. I'm wanting him to learn why we do what we do because you definitely can
Mhm.
at Amusement 360, and they know we're in the fun business. We hire them, we train them, but they've never really seen the full picture and what our goals are like, and they get to hear those goals that have been accomplished through others and see what our vision is just through other people."
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it starts with why you're in the business. What's your why? Which is, I think a lot of people don't think about that. They just think about, well, what do I have to do to build this place? But think about, well, why are you in this business? And what's that focus going to be? Because that's going to translate, I think, a lot more to your staff and also to your customers. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely having that whole holistic picture from start to end, so to speak. Although I don't know if there's ever an end. I'm sure you as an owner operator probably don't ever think there's going to be an end to the work you've got to do. But yeah, there's a lot you don't know until you get in that environment. I know we've heard that multiple times from attendees of like, wow, I didn't know what I didn't know until I
Yes.
came to this event. And then they've been able to kind of launch in a better spot educationally. And some people have even used this event and prove that they've attended it for funding from, a SBA or something like that, where it's like, see, I've done my homework. I've attended events that teach me to help me make this a success, because sometimes lenders don't want to just give it to you. They've got to know that you kind of know what you're doing beforehand. So
Right.
all of that kind of works together to help that for sure.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, talking about focusing, my wife Charlotte, she's always saying, let's look at it this way, because what you focus on expands, and that's the truth. I mean,
Mm.
if you're going to focus on it, I mean, I'm going to share what I'm sure he wouldn't mind what Danny had us do in the mastermind yesterday. He said, look around the room at everything that's red, keep it in your mind, and then he said, close your eyes. He said, now tell me everything that was blue. And it's like, wow. I was
What?
like, I love that. And instantly I thought, wow, that actually just puts the icing on the cake, checks that box, about what you focus on does expand. And what you focus on is what's going to happen. And it's amazing.
Yeah,
So that's a little a
it is.
little a little pitch to Danny there in his mastermind, but that was so cool. That got me yesterday. That was
Yeah,
my takeaway from yesterday's mastermind.
that's awesome. I love that takeaway. It's always one of my favorite ones, and your wife is spot on. I mean, Tony Robbins has a saying, where focus goes, energy flows. And
Hmm.
so what you're focusing on is what Charlotte said. It's growing, but you're going to have energy to do that too. That energy is going to be focused in on that piece. So you just have to kind of sometimes remember that and maybe refocus your energy in a different direction, because you might be in a bad spot or in a bit of a funk, and you're like, okay, I need to focus in on this. And it can be a help, and also might help you too in different spots of business that might be struggling. If you focus in on it, you're probably going to figure it out.
Exactly. So once you keep focused and you focus in on it and focus in on your vision, focus in on your goal's accomplished, but don't forget to celebrate that win. It's easy, like you
Oh,
said a while ago. It's like
absolutely.
I never feel like I'm finished. I got to keep going and keep going. But once a goal is accomplished, it's very important to stop and say, I did it, and celebrate that before you move on to the next project. Get good at what you got before we move on. And uh, that don't forget to celebrate your wins, because a lot of things you work hard for, you don't ever get to stop and just appreciate those. If you don't do that, you just keep going and going like, man, I'm never going to get there. But yes, you get there. Once you accomplish them, make sure you celebrate that for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do that actually at Creative Works. We send out a weekly survey to our employees, and we ask them for basically their win for the week and maybe a low spot in their week, just so we can kind of get, like, hey, how are things going? Sometimes they share personal stuff. Sometimes it has to do with work. We don't force it. So some people just ignore it and don't enter
Right.
stuff, but it's been a nice tool for us just to kind of see that. And again, what you said, you got to focus in on a win, even if it's small. It's like, hey, I did that. I think we like to just brush aside that and move to the next thing and get overwhelmed by other pieces. But you actually put fuel in that tank of like, oh, hey, look at what I did. Good. Now I can do more. I can do another new thing now because of you celebrating that win.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Creative Works created our laser tag and our mini glow golf and other items throughout our facility, and I'm sure others are interested on how they can get in contact with Creative Works in your sales department or someone to talk to, just to have a chat with and give them some information what y'all do. Can you give me some info on how they can get in contact with Creative Works?
Sure. Yeah. So our website, we recently kind of did a refresh on it. And if you go to wearecreativeworks.com, that will kind of give you a nice overview of all the different attractions that we work on. It'll tell you kind of how we started, who the main people on our team are, and you can look through that. And I know that our VP of Sales, Russ Vanata, is listed on the website, so you can click on that to get his information. And then we do have a couple other salespeople. So I know there's even a link on that on our website where you say, hey, I want to learn more, and then you'll get entered into our system. So a salesperson will reach out to you and start to discover kind of, hey, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you want to do? How do you want to get in the industry? How can we help you? And then we'll go from there. So I really think that website is the key, and then that will kind of get the ball rolling so that if you want to do that, you can talk to Russ or Nick or Scott or Brandy. All of those people are happy to help.
And too, not just great information you'll be getting from these people in sales, and anybody you talk to in Creative Works, be ready, folks, because you're actually creating a friendship with them. They're really good people and great to work with, and very honored to be a part of it.
we valued that immensely from you, Jeff, and Charlotte and your team, but also you kind of do have to remember that I'm sure you've had positive experiences and negative ones as well that you could share about when you start out as a company. You are kind of starting I don't want to say the word marriage, but you are going to be tied to some of those more important vendors that have the equipment, like the bowling equipment side of things. You're always going to be kind of in touch with them based on support things and supplies and changes that need to be made. And same with a laser tag or miniature golf. Arcade games, you need to really make sure that, hey, I want to do business with these people and not just look for the easiest and or the cheapest.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Kimberly, how about one more question here? If you had to give one piece of advice, whether it be FEC related, personal related, it doesn't matter. What would you give advice? What kind of advice would you give our viewers at this time?
That's a tough one. Because there's a treasure trove. There's so much.
Yeah, there's several of them.
I would, yes, for sure. I know that one thing that sticks out in my mind, and I've struggled with it, but I've also had moments of moving past it and conquering it, is just, you're never going to be ready. There's never going to be a right time to do something. So just take action, just do something. So it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying that you're going to magically be able to build a facility within an unreasonable amount of time, but just that first mental game of, if you've got that dream, if you've got some, obviously if you're listening to this podcast, you're interested in this industry, you want to learn. Sometimes we can get in our head and we get overwhelmed by all the details and all the things, but don't let that fear stop you, and to just take action and move forward. And then when you hit some roadblocks, you pivot and learn and figure out a different direction possibly. But I know that in life, personally, but also professionally, that's, I think, an important thing to remember, of just do it, move forward in some small way, and you're always going to be more, I don't want to say thankful, but you're going to feel a lot better and more fulfilled when you make that step versus being hesitant and not doing that.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Kimberly, you're a great person. Appreciate your friendship.
Oh,
and
thank you, Jeff. You are too. Back at you.
I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here on the FEC World Podcast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a great day. Tell Charlotte I said hi.
I will do it. And viewers, we thank you for joining us once again for the FEC World Podcast, where we help you with all things family entertainment. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe and hit that little bell on there so you get notified when these podcasts pop up. It's called the FEC World Podcast with Jeff Pierce. Don't forget to go over to Facebook and go to the FEC World Podcast with Jeff Pierce. Like, share, follow, all the good stuff that you got to do and know how to do. Share it with your friends, folks. We appreciate you very much, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for taking the time to enjoy this episode of the FEC World Podcast with Jeff Pierce. We hope you enjoyed today's episode filled with industry secrets and exciting updates. Be sure to subscribe to this show, leave us a review, and let us know what you think. Join us next week for more captivating interviews and essential tips from the FEC world. See you soon on the next FEC World Podcast.